A warm welcome to all my dear 7th standard children. Today from your biology you are going to learn, you are going to understand about your next concept, right. So I am Nirmala from Bharathidhasanar Matric Higher Secondary School going to teach your biology, right. First we will see the next lesson. So what is the next unit? Kingdom Animalia, right. So today in this session you are going to understand in detail about Kingdom Animalia, how it is classified, right. So in the previous session, in your last part, you learned about how the kingdom is classified, right. So the kingdom is classified into different groups. So 5 kingdom classification you have learned, right. So you learned about Monera, Protista, fungi, plantae and Animalia, right. So till in the last session you learnt about the Monera, Protista, fungi and plantae, right. So from this session you are going to learn about the kingdom Animalia, right. Of course we all love animals, right. So now we are going to see how animals are classified into different groups, right. So now let us see the lesson. So kingdom Animalia is your unit 2. And from your chapter 2, Kingdom Animalia is a unit 2, and we are going to see the part 1 in this class. So now let us see the lesson, right. So now we can see so many animals around us, right children. So we see worms, butterflies, insects, and also we see frog, zebra, monkey, and of course human beings, and of course many animals, right. So we see different kinds of animals. So all these animals are classified into 2 big groups. So we can see if you take a worm, puru, right. So if you take a worm and if you touch, it will be very soft, right, because it does not have any bones. But if you take a frog, the frog has bones, and these bones are connected at their back, right. So this bones give the shape to the animals, right. So when an animal has the particular shapes, so they are classified into different categories. Now with the help of the, what is this? Vertebral column. This is known as vertebral column, mudugelimbu, right, backbone they will say. So in your lower standard, maybe in your 5th standard or 6th standard, you studied about skeletal system, right. So in the skeletal system you might have come across the word called vertebral column, backbone, right. So with this vertebral column, due to the presence of the vertebral column, the animals are classified into 2 big groups. So if the animals have backbones, they are classified into one category, and if the animals does not have bones, I mean vertebral column, they are classified into the second category, like. So due to the presence of the backbone, the animals are classified into 2 big groups, right. So now let us see what are the 2 big groups. So animals are classified into invertebrates and vertebrates. So due to the presence of vertebral column, so you know vertebral column just now you saw, right. So due to the presence of the backbone and due to the absence of the backbone, they are classified into 2 big groups. So invertebrates means the animals that does not have vertebral column. So invertebrates means, so these animals, they does not have vertebral they does not have the vertebral column, right. So they will not have the vertebral column. But if you take invertebrates, so the invertebrates, so they are the animals that have vertebral column. So these animals have vertebral column. So, the animals are classified into two big groups according to their body shape and according to the body, right. So, they are classified into two big groups. So, when the animals does not have backbone, when the animals does not have vertebral column, they are called as invertebrates, invertebrates. So, invertebrates means does not have vertebral column, vertebrates. Vertebrates means the animals have vertebral column, right. So, we can see some examples for this. Invertebrates means we can say worm. I told you, if you take a worm, puru, it does not have bones, it does not have a bony skeleton or a backbone, right. That is an example of invertebrates. And vertebrates means when an animal has a bones, when the animal has a bony skeleton or the backbone. For example, if you take a frog, it has bones, right. So, those come under vertebrates, right. So, now let us see how this invertebrates are classified. So, we can classify the invertebrates. So, now we can classify invertebrates into 8 different categories, right. So, now let us see what are they. So, we can classify invertebrates into 8 different categories. Now, let us see. So, the first one, it is known as Porifera. So, Porifera, Porifera. Okay. So, Porifera, Porifera. The second one name is Coelenterata. So, Coelenterata. Coelenterata, or they are also called as Cnidaria. Okay. Cnidaria. So, Coelenterata is also called as Cnidaria, right. So, now let us see the third one. So, the third one is known as Platyhelminthes. So, Platy, Platyhelminthes. So, Platyhelminthes. 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 Platyhelminthes, right. So, the fourth one is Ascalminthes. 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 This Ascalminthes is also known as Nematode. Nematoda. So, Nematoda, Nematoda, right. So, first one Porifera, second one Coelenterata. Coelenterata is also called as Cnidaria. Third one Platyhelminthes. Fourth one Ascalminthes. Ascalminthes is also known as Nematoda, right. So, and the fifth one. So, the fifth one is known as Annelida. 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 Fifth one Annelida. Sixth one Arthropoda. 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 Arthropoda, right. The seventh one is Mollusca. 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 So, the seventh one is Mollusca, and the eighth one is Echinodermata. So, Echinodermata, right. So, this invertebrates are classified into 8 different phyla. They are called as phylums, right. So, phylum Porifera, phylum Cnidaria, phylum Platyhelminthes, phylum Nematoda, phylum Annelida, phylum Arthropoda, phylum Mollusca and phylum Echinodermata. So, this is given in your book 8 classifications, right, but you have another classification, the 9th one. Recently they have added one more phylum into this invertebrates. So, they are known as Tenophora. So, that is known as Tenophora. So, this is the 9th one recently they have added. Okay. So, Tenophora, right. So, 8 this your basic thing, right. So, you will be very new to this words, right. So, these are all your new words, these are all the hard words. So, what you have to do is write and see many times, so that when you write without seeing you will not make mistakes, right. So, these are all the phylums that are classified from the invertebrates, right. So, the invertebrates are classified into 8 different phylums. Now, let us see one example for each phylums. So, for Porifera, Sycon is the example. Sycon, S-Y-C-O-N. Sycon is the example of Porifera. And for Cnidaria, Hydra. Hydra is the example of Cnidaria. And Platyhelminthes example is tapeworm, T-A-P-E-W-O-R-M, tapeworm. And for Nematoda, Ascaria, A-S-C-A-R-I-A, Ascaria. And example of Annelida is earthworm, E-A-R-T-H-W-O-R-M, earthworm. And example of Arthropoda is cockroach, C-O-C-K-R-O-A-C-H, cockroach. And for mollusca is snail, Nattai. Okay, snail is example of mollusca. And then Echinodermata example is starfish, S-T-A-R-F-I-S-H. Okay. So, these are the examples of the 8 phylums, right. So, Tenophora, that comes the example is the animals that live in the sea, right. So, கடல் வாழ் சில animals வந்து they exhibit some light, you know. So, those animals come under Tenophora, right. So, in the next part we will see in detail about all this phylums, right. So, now let us see how the vertebrates are classified. So, invertebrates are classified into 8 categories. Now, let us see how the vertebrates are classified, right. So, the next one we will see about vertebrates. Vertebrates, V-E-R-T-E-B-R-A-T-E-S. So, now the vertebrates are divided into 5 phylums. So, invertebrates are divided into 8 or 9 phylums. Vertebrates are divided into 5 phylums. What are they? Let us see. The first one is known as pieces. So, pieces is nothing but fishes. Okay. So, P-I-S-C-E-S, pieces. Pieces is nothing but fishes. Okay. Fishes. So, different type of fishes, they come under pieces. Okay. Then the second one is amphibia, A-M-P-H-I-B-H-I-A, amphibia, right. And the third one is known as reptiles, R-E-P-T-I-L-E-S, reptiles. And the fourth one is aves, A-V-E-S. So, aves is nothing but it refers to the birds. Okay. Birds. And the fifth one is classified as, the phylum is mammals, M-A-M-M-A-L-S, mammals. Now, let us see one example of these phylums. Okay. So, for pieces, the first the example is shark. Shark is an example of pieces, right. So, Sura they will say, right. And then amphibia. Amphibia are the animals that they live both on land as well as on the water, right. So, example is frog. Frog is an example of amphibia. Reptiles. What are the examples of reptiles? We can say tortoise. Tortoise, snakes, crocodile, they all come under reptiles. Okay, Urdu Silidal they will say, right, in Tamil, right. So, the tortoise is example of reptiles. And birds, so we can say any bird. So, peacock. So, peacock, even ostrich, even though ostrich cannot fly, they also come under aves, right. And example of mammals. So, we can see many mammals, cow, dog, cat. So, all that are examples of mammals, right. So, now we saw each one example for the vertebrates. What are vertebrates? Vertebrates means when they have the vertebral column. So, they are classified into 5 different phylums, right. So, invertebrates are classified into 8 different phylums and vertebrates are classified into 5 different phylums, right. What are they? Pieces, amphibia, reptiles, aves and mammals. So, these are the phylum classification under vertebrates, right. So, now let us see what we discussed in today's class, right. So, today we learnt that animals are classified into groups, right. So, even from the kingdom Animalia, the animals are classified into 2 different groups, right. So, it can be invertebrates or vertebrates. What are the 2 different groups? Invertebrates and vertebrates. So, we saw animals are classified into groups, right. So, we saw that and we saw about the invertebrates, right. So, invertebrates are the animals that they does not have the backbone, mudugelimbu, right. So, this backbone is made up of small bones interlocked together, right. So, this backbone, if the backbone does not have, those animals are called as invertebrates, right. So, this invertebrates, they are classified into 8 different phylums. Actually, one they have added, right. So, there are nearly 9 different phylums under invertebrates. So, what are they? So, they are Porifera and then the second one is Coelenterata, Platyhelminthes, Nematode, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca and Echinodermata. So, these are the examples, phylums. And what are the examples of each phylum? So, phylum Porifera Cycon and phylum Nidaria is sea anemone or hydra, and for Platyhelminthes example is tapeworm, and for Nematode it is also known as Ascalminthes. So, example of Nematode is Ascaria, and the 5th one Annelida example is earthworm, Arthropoda example is cockroach, and then Mollusca example is snail, and Echinodermata example is starfish. All that we saw, and we also saw how vertebrates are classified, right. So, vertebrates are classified into 5 different phylums. So, what are they? Pieces, that is fishes, and then the second one is we saw amphibia, right, and the third one reptiles, and then 4th one we saw is aves, 5th one mammals. So, what is the example of pieces? Shark, right. And what is the example of amphibia? Frog. And what is the example of reptile? Yes, tortoise. And what is the example of aves? Peacock. And what is the example of mammals? Dog or cat. In even human beings also come under mammals, right. So, vertebrates are classified into 5 categories, 5 different phylums. So, that is what today we have discussed. So, in the next session we will discuss in detail about the Porifera and what we discussed, right, in detail about the phylums. What are the phylums? So, in detail how the Porifera will be, how the Echinodermata will be, how aves will be, how the mammals will be. So, in detail about that. So, in the next class we will see the first 4 like Porifera and then Nidaria, Platyhelminthes and Nematode, right. So, about that in the next class we will discuss in detail about those phylums, right. So, hope you learned something very new, right. So go through the lesson and go through the video again and again, and in the below description you can see a Google Drive link. Just click it and download the study material and write it in your biology note, right. So read the notes from the biology note and do the self assessment. By doing the self assessment, you will come to know how far you have understood the lesson, right. So those hard words write again and again, so that you will not make mistakes, spelling mistakes in the future exams. So these are all the basic thing. Even in the higher studies, you will study very in detail about these phylums. Yes children, today's class you learned something very interesting about animals, right. So we'll meet you in the next session. Thank you children for watching. Have a good day.